All right, Mr. Ronald Prater,
Yes,
you are the Sixth Ward Council member.
yes,
You are chairman of the Zoning and Annexation Committee. Is there
yes, I am.
anything going on in that committee right now?
Not right now. We had a busy first half of the year.
Hmm.
There was something going on all the time
Hmm.
about rezoning neighborhoods and so forth. But lately it's been kind of quiet. But it'll pick up at the beginning of the next year if I'm still the head of that committee.
Right. Okay. Interesting. You're also on the Jobs and Economic Development Committee.
Yes, I
Any-
love that committee, and it's been quiet lately too. First half of the year was pretty busy.
hmm.
We were dealing with Marion Can't Do.
Hmm.
We were dealing with the Can't Do organization and what to do with the former head of it, Gus Comstock, and looking for a new direction for economic development in Marion.
Hmm.
And I thought the mayor come up with a pretty good idea, creating a director of economic development with a county city partnership.
Right.
But there's just not the money right now to do that.
Yeah, we know that's not going to be funded anymore
No,
come the new year. Do you hope the council will eventually revisit that?
I think it would be a good idea. Some people think that it should be all private donations and something organic from the community together, but there's no guarantee that that's going to work or there'll be enough money or you'll get enough to pay somebody super qualified to do that job. I mean, if I'm this guy and let's say I've been living down in Dublin and I'm really good at economic development and I've made Dublin prosper. Well, am I going to come to Marion and make like 50,000 a year or
Right.
something? So we have a shortage of money in the city right now, but we also it's sort of an idea of we some positions really need to be paid well to get the best people, and that's why I was for the charter because I thought we could have created a director of economics, an economics director. Uh,
That would
I,
also combine the treasurer and the auditor.
yes, and you could have, if I'm a super qualified person to be an auditor, am I going to make 60,000 a year or 50,000 a year or whatever the auditor makes? If I can make 120,000 doing it in the private sector,
Right. That makes it more competitive as
it
well.
makes it more competitive, and you're going to get the most qualified individuals.
Right.
So, but unfortunately, the city lacks funds right now, and we're in a deficit.
Yeah, pretty
My
big one.
eyes are watering because I have sinus problems.
Oh, that's
Been
all right.
dealing with that for a while.
Yeah, that's all right. You're also on the regional planning committee. Anything going on there?
A lot of small things. Um, we have there's possible that a restaurant called Culver's could be coming to Marion,
That would be out in front of Menards. I
up
believe I
in
heard of that.
Menards, or and then we have a station, small things like a gas station out there too.
The new Duke and Duchess, and then we got
Yeah,
we got the new 5 minute oil change and stuff out
yes,
there. So that and
and a lot of things, and then also senior apartments through Goodwill, uh,
is that what's going on?
West Fairground,
Okay.
and then also Goodwill's headquarters is going to move towards Barks Road, I believe.
Yeah, I see they're doing some
They're doing some work there.
excavating out there.
And there'll be an apartment complex for seniors created on West Fairground near where the school transportation, where the current Goodwill is, in a vacant lot.
Okay.
I was at a meeting for that with regional planning that we were discussing that. That would be good because, like I said, I'm up there. Uh, baby boomers are no longer young.
Right.
So
Basically, kind of the same concept as the towers,
yes,
kind of thing.
yeah, and there's like 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments, and the one is run by Goodwill, okay, and it's going to be like, I forget, it was said like a U shape, and it would be like really small places to live, like 800-900 feet, I believe Evelyn said,
Mm.
700-800-900 feet. It would be a great place if you were a single person my age and you needed a place to live that would be affordable. That would be it.
Oh, so it'd also be kind of affordable housing as well
Yes.
for seniors.
See,
Okay.
we need affordable housing. I knew someone that was homeless, and I got him to move to Marion, and he's now in the towers. And
Oh wow.
so,
Yeah, I know Crescent Heights. They're like 1150, 950, somewhere around there a month. So
yes,
that's a little
I can't believe
excessive.
that Crescent Heights would cost that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's unreal.
Yeah.
I know I had my I knew people that lived out there, and that's pretty expensive. But what we need more than anything is low income housing for seniors,
Right.
and because the senior population is increased. I mean, there were more people born the year I was born than any other year in American history,
Oh wow.
1957. So we're all around this time in our life.
Right.
So we need that, and we need that kind of development. I had last 3 years I had been working for city schools, and I'd drive down to Columbus every day,
Hmm.
twice a day, taking kids to the schools for the deaf. And I had one time, because of all the work on 37, I had to take detours around Delaware, and I discovered that Delaware had built tons of housing for seniors.
Hmm.
I mean, I couldn't believe how much development was going on around those little areas of Delaware that you don't normally drive through.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's really some positive things there in regional planning coming up. Uh, Maybe nothing like a factory coming here or that's going to uh, employ 150 people or nothing, but things are nice. Things are happening that,
Right.
even though it seems negative right now in Marion with the shortage of funds and everything, and general funds and everything, there are some positive things that have been happening.
Do you think some people fail to see the bright side of things? See,
Oh,
see, kind of the other perspective of.
I have felt that way my whole life about the city I was born in and grew up in, and I've always felt that way. That there's always been an attitude of looking down on ourselves.
Kind of a bad rep.
Yeah, especially after the 70s. Now, before that, when I was a little kid and growing up in the 60s and into the 70s, you could get a job pretty much anywhere.
Right.
You could. My dad quit the power shovel one day and took off and drove out to Green Camp and got a job and got hired at BF Goodrich and started the next Monday.
Wow.
I mean, that's the way it was at one time in Marion. You didn't have to go to a multitude of interviews or anything.
Or
Uh, Handshake, welcome aboard. It was so easy to get a job, and families were intact, more so when I was younger.
mhm.
That helped.
The destruction of the nuclear family has been detrimental to
It,
our country.
it has hurt. The drug epidemic that hit Marion in the 2000s,
Hmm.
the heroin epidemic, the amount of kids that go to school whose parents or one or more of their parents has died or was sent away to prison or jail. And I worked out at Malty County for about close to 8 years, and I just seen so much from that period of 2005 to 2013
Mm.
that just so much death, young people dying before their
Right.
time in their life. I mean, the broken families, that all that we wonder why the city is short of money. Okay, well, that has a lot to do with it. That when you got a family intact, when you've got an intact family, that family is more than likely not going to be classified as poor.
Right.
I most of my life, I never had any money.
Hmm.
I would say from the time I graduated, I graduated when all the factories left, and I was dealing.
1976, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, see, and also about 1979, I developed. I never said this to anybody, but I had panic disorder
Hmm.
really bad.
Anxiety.
Never revealed this yet. I don't think in an interview,
Hmm.
and it really affected me. Uh, it really held me back. So you take the economic conditions, and you take the what I had going on. It really hindered me. So most of my life, I really did not have a lot of money until I got married at 40 some years old.
Right.
Met the woman I finally married. And but see, and when you're married, you can build a life and an income. Or if you've got an intact couple,
You've
whether
got a
they're married
base.
or just living together.
Right. You've got a base to go home to. And
But back to that thing where I told you I had panic disorder, I got over that. It went away. I just dealt with it and asked God to help. And I eventually was able to fly on a plane 16 hours straight to Hong Kong
wow.
and then
Interesting.
on to Vietnam where I met my wife.
Wow. That's
So it doesn't bother me. I just had to get to a point in life where I just didn't bother me. If I would go into a large mall, I would feel like I had to run out.
wow.
And it was very difficult. And one day I just said, God, you got to help me. And I know there's people out there that have it. I have other family members that do. And it's just something that one day I just said, God, help me. I'm in a freaking mess. And everything, step by step, here I am.
Just kind of went through the trial and tribulations.
And then I realized that other people had the same issues.
A lot of other people.
A lot of people, and there's a lot of younger people of Gen Z that have that issue now,
Hmm.
which really floors me.
Mainly depression and anxiety.
Yeah, and then you guys, you're Gen Z, aren't you?
I was born in 2002.
Which is that?
Uh, I believe it's Gen Z.
Yeah,
I'm not sure though.
you are, I believe. You guys had to go through a lot of garbage with the schools shut down
Mm.
and all that. So, I mean, there's a lot of people around your age that had more anxiety because of dealing with social media and everything else. But back to the point of the Marion here, um, I, I do think that there's been a bad rap that we get here in Marion. Even if we had the epidemic of heroin, we weren't the only city that had it. It started in Kenton.
Yeah,
It
true as well.
started in Kenton and moved its way to Marion because we had inmates from Kenton and Marion at the Multnomah County, and
Mm.
I just seen people that were like zombies,
Yeah,
and it was awful. And I think we've come a ways from that as far as instead of heroin as Marion's economy, now we have some hope.
yeah.
And if you and there's things there's a verse in the Bible, and I can't remember exactly about hope, which I should could quote it, but you got to have hope first.
Mm.
If you don't have hope, you're just going to give up. You're not going to try.
Mm.
And what it is, when I decided to run for council, I wanted to make a difference here in Marion. It wasn't because I wanted to be known. As a matter of fact, some ways I liked it better when no one knew who I was.
Right.
But I just wanted to make a difference for my son, who's 22, was born in 2003, that even though he's down in Columbus finishing his senior year at Ohio State,
Mm.
it'd be neat if he could come back here and find a great job in what he's doing and raise a family here. And people your generation could raise their family here in Marion and prosper.
Mm.
And that's why. Um, I don't want to see the future generations meet hit the have the trouble getting their life established as I did early on. I want them to have this feeling that they can succeed here. You can raise your family here in Marion. My parents did it. My
Right.
parents grew up, they were born during the Depression and they were dirt poor growing up. My mom and dad told me about how they used outhouses up until the time they were 12.
Wow.
And they eventually became very, very comfortable.
Hmm.
They started out in Fair Park. I've told this story many times, moved
Yep.
up to the sixth ward. They just worked hard and uh, and build a life together. So I mean, that's what we need to do. As far as we just got to have a more positive attitude about our city, and have the hope that we can turn this around. We got to try. We can't just give up.
Yeah, because if you just give up, nothing comes out of
Yes.
it. Well, you've answered a couple of my questions already. Um, you studied banking and finance at Marion Tech, is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
I
then
did for about two semesters, and then I got a job working at a factory,
hmm,
which I really would have loved to have. It, I, it was interesting. I loved it. I got some good marks on it. I studied the oh that one. There was a banking act. Oh gosh, I forgot it. It'll come to me in a second. But I loved it. I worked at a bank. I was a courier at a bank, and then I worked a little bit in the mailroom and in the bookkeeping office, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed my years there. I didn't make lots of money, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I I love uh, watching business news.
hmm,
Uh, I love watching Fox Business or any other business network,
hmm.
studying about how stocks and money is made and generated, and the basics of capitalism. You know,
Hmm.
I
Interesting.
love it. I love how money works,
Hmm.
and
Interesting.
how you can make how prosperity is created.
Hmm. Um, as you've said, you've worked at Marion Corrections, you've worked in manufacturing, finance, and transportation for Marion City Schools.
Yes.
I sure I left a bunch of jobs out.
Well, yeah,
Um,
I worked at Big Bear.
oh wow.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything.
Hmm.
I worked at the Marion Star
Oh
as
wow.
a distributor.
Hmm.
I used
I
to,
did a newspaper route before, so that's
yeah, I've done I was a paper boy for 5 years.
oh wow.
Back when you had to collect it and go out in the cold and
I did
snow.
mine in a car, so I'm sure it was a lot
I
easier.
walked in, one time I fell in a ditch
Oh wow.
in 4 feet of snow or 2 or 3 feet of snow,
Man.
and with a 25 paper bag, and you had to put them in the doors back then.
Oh really?
Yeah, and then you had to go collect, and so I had frostbit hands and
My goodness.
all that. But I didn't think I was tough when I was little, but younger. But I think I was a lot tougher than I thought.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've done a lot of everything, so I've seen everything. I've even delivered pizzas.
That's good. With all your different endeavors through the years, how has that helped shape your decision making when it comes to voting on a hard topic?
Because I've seen all. I've been in every kind of environment around all different kinds of people, and I've seen people as they live. Um,
You've also kind of seen the effects
yes, and I've
of
seen the effects of it.
hmm,
I mean, I never knew that when I went to. I grew up in a really great home. I never knew anybody that went to was ever incarcerated,
oh wow.
or people that were always in trouble with the law. I mean, even among some of my relatives and stuff, I never knew none of that stuff. And I grew up in a Christian home, and when I went to work, especially in corrections, I never knew there was this other, like another layer of Marion that I had never knew about,
Hmm.
because I basically lived in a sheltered, good world.
Hmm.
But I'm so glad that like I'd seen that, because now I have more understanding that people are hurting. And I know a lot of reasons why a lot of young people turn to drugs is because they feel hopeless. Remember, I was talking about hope?
Mm-hmm.
I actually heard that from people. I said, "What got you hooked on drugs?" And I would take people out for work and work detail, and they'd say, "I just felt like there was no hope.
Hmm.
There's no future."
Also, growing up around it, being around the environment constantly, that also kind of takes a toll.
Oh,
You're so used to it, and
yeah,
you just take part.
growing up in broken homes, and and people around that are getting you hooked, uh, and that's all you see. You don't see nothing positive. I grew up. I seen my mom and dad loved each other, and even when my dad had to retire because of heart disease, he had to retire early. My mom went to work at the mall running a hot dog stand. It
Wow.
was out there from 1977, when the mall was busy, when
Hmm.
it was a real mall, and she managed that for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So they just had a good life together. We had good meet. I have three brothers. We're all real close. We love each other. My one brother passed away,
Sorry.
but we were always real close. But the one way I think, you go ahead.
Okay. Um, how has your experience in corrections shaped your approach to public safety in Marion today?
Well, I do believe in the importance of our law enforcement. Uh, they go through a lot, uh, because I know what I went through
Hmm.
dealing with things inside.
Hmm.
And I believe and I support our police and sheriffs and all of our law enforcement, our highway patrol, even the one that pulled me over one time for speeding. Um, I was jamming away to Earth, Wind, and Fire and going a little too fast. But I mean, I don't, they do their job, and they go out, and is everything, no human being is perfect. Are you going to see perfection in everything that every officer does? No,
Hmm.
because none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. But I totally support our law enforcement. I do know that a lot of people that got arrested for that were addicted to drugs, if they had not been arrested, they might be dead.
Right.
Being arrested was the best thing that happened to them.
Hmm.
Many times people would get released, and 2 days later, they were dead. I would
Wow.
hear about it in the paper. I'd
Wow.
even people that I had brought food to and things, you know.
Hmm.
But I believe that our safety, our fire department, all of the primary function of city government is safety, protection, and providing infrastructure.
Hmm.
That is the main functions of city government that provide.
Hmm.
But I admire anybody that wants to be a policeman or a deputy or a highway patrolman,
They're putting their
because it
life
can.
on the line for public safety.
How
That's the
many
big
people?
thing.
How many people go to work and they not know if they're going to come home alive every night?
Right. Not many.
I mean, really, when I used to go to work there, I just wanted to have a nice, peaceful night. Go home safe in the morning, not hurt.
Right.
It didn't always happen. One night I did get hurt, but uh, you know,
They don't know what they're going into when they get a call.
no, you don't know, and they deal with a lot of stupidity.
Yep.
I know I dealt with it.
From the drugs.
Well,
and
it's
alcohol and
even people not on drugs, just plain stupidity.
mental problems and
Yes,
stuff like that.
yeah. Like I heard one story where one officer said, and I mentioned the name, this years ago, but he said went to our house and he said, "What's the problem? I don't like my neighbor." What they do? I don't like my neighbor. I, I'm
Yeah, and
well,
that's why some people kind of get upset and say that's a waste of tax dollars, but they are there for the essential
what? Yeah.
needs.
Why do you call the police if you just? I mean,
Right. That's not the officer's fault. That's the person who called.
yeah. I mean, don't waste our time. Just So I support our police and all those people, and they have an important duty to keep our town safe.
I
And
think they all do it with that in mind too. I don't think they're out to
oh,
you
the
know.
last thing in the world that anybody in that kind of a job, if you have any kind of a badge on, you want is confrontation. If you do go out seeking confrontation every day, then you should not be doing that job.
Absolutely.
But what you want to do is maintain the peace.
Right.
Maintain the
Hmm.
peace.
As a lifelong resident of Marion, besides briefly living in Houston, right?
Yes.
Um, what do you see as the biggest changes in the city over your lifetime?
The, well, from the time when I was little, it would be the family dynamic.
Hmm.
Uh, I just know that where I lived growing up when I was little, there was basically almost a dad and a mom in every house,
Hmm.
you know, and
Right.
all the kids had the same last names.
Right.
And then the biggest change I see is the lack of accessible, high paying jobs, like with all the factories and industry that we had early on.
Hmm.
So that there, and then Marion kind of had an upshot there, I think, in the mid to late 80s when Reagan was president.
Mm-hmm.
And things were going pretty good, I thought, even into the early 90s.
Hmm.
You could see like a little bit of a revival. Kellogg Parkway was developed. Uh, we had a few factories come in, Yachio and all them,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one, Marion Industries.
Hmm.
And it was kind of an upswing. And then it just seemed like this affected after 2001, after the towers, when 9/11 happened, it just seemed like, not just in Marion, but all over the country, everything just kind of went negative.
Right.
Uh,
And that's when we ultimately went to war and for
yes,
20 years and ran up our national debt 9 to 12 trillion dollars and
yes. And there became this, the political divide became wider.
mm-hmm.
If you look at the Democrat platform, national platform in 1993 of Clinton and Gore, is almost the same as the platform that Donald Trump had.
Hmm.
Reduce immigration, illegal immigration, cut down on the size of government, um,
Reduce taxes,
reduce taxes.
bring industry back.
The end of big government. That was what Bill Clinton said.
Hmm.
And the one party went so far left that it made the other party appear going far right, but yet the other party actually did not.
They kind of moved towards the left a little bit.
The left went this way, and the right may have moved this way.
Mm-hmm.
But there just became this inability to work together.
Right.
Uh,
They quit talking.
yeah, everybody quit talking, and actually, we need to get back to that.
Right.
We need to talk, and we need to find out, because the most perfect place usually is middle ground.
Right. where everybody agrees.
Where, hey, I can't get everything I want, and I can't get everything I want, but yet we can come right here and we both get something
A
of what we would like.
mutual outcome.
Yes, and that is for the people. So no matter what the city council is mostly Republican, which it is now, or mostly Democrat, the main goal is to work together and help the people because we all are the same. I know a lot of great people that are Democrats and everything, and that I may have some differences with, but we all want the same thing: peace and prosperity.
Right.
Everybody, it's just sometimes a different approach to get to that outcome.
And that's kind of the reason they do the red and blue, is to keep us divided. That's what people lack to see a lot.
There, the rise of social media has added to this,
Hmm.
and I mean, they'll pass out these memes, and I've fallen prey to them too.
Yes.
You know, where they're just out there. They'll come up with a fake story or something that slants it, especially among races. I mean, when I there was a time when it seemed like when Barack Obama got elected president, I didn't support it. I didn't vote for him, but I told my son was 5 at the time, and I said, Ronnie, you may not remember this conversation later, but I said, even though I don't vote for him, we've actually elected a real African American president. And I said, we've come a long way from way back in the day. Uh, and it just seemed like when he got in the office, my opinion was he did everything he could to divide.
Right.
And it just seemed like everything started deteriorating again.
Hmm.
But it really wasn't people; it was entities, it was government, it was the
Institutions.
press.
Right.
They, it's divide and conquer.
Hmm.
See, if we can, if they can, if the powers that be can keep us divided as people, they can control us.
Yeah. Because if we don't put our minds together and we realize that the institutions in the government is the ones that are actually causing the problems, not the red and blue, then
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
yeah. They I tell you the truth, it's just it just literally just it disgusts me about it. The way it's we they just keep at us, dividing us. It's troublesome.
And a lot of the Republican talking points you hear now, Democrats were saying 10 years ago, and now they're opposed to them. So it's just a whole back and forth. And now what Republicans are saying now, or Democrats are saying now, Republicans will be saying 10 years from now.
Yes,
So it's just
it changes. Yeah, it's whoever's in power, and but if we could ever get back to a point where we could all work together, I thought when the greatest town, the strongest town thing that we had last year, where we won the strongest town,
Mhm.
I seen people uh, in Marion that were Democrat, Republican, were actually working together on that.
Mhm.
I mean, that wasn't just the Republican people in Marion pushing that, or the Democrat people. It's all of us.
Right.
That's what we need. When Marion got voted the strongest town, that was so positive because it wasn't like, you know, are we the best town? Are we the best city? Are we the number one city? No, we've overcome. And I tell you what, it's kind of like the movie Rocky,
Hmm.
where Rocky's in there getting
Yep.
battered up by, Apollo Creed, and our blood is everywhere. We're kind of like Rocky.
Hmm.
We're not going to give up. We're going to keep plugging away.
Right.
We're battered. We're bloody. The city is, but then we're not the only city that's facing these issues.
Right. Eventually, we'll turn to Rambo.
Yeah,
You know.
we'll turn into Rambo. and we'll defeat, and we will actually win.
Right.
But we got to keep fighting. We got to keep pushing forward. We're an underdog, but there's nothing wrong with being an underdog. You know, I was talking, but when we were first, when I was getting together with people to run for office, and I met Bill Collins,
Hmm.
who was running for mayor. One thing we were talking about was changing the attitude in Marion, the culture.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, when I was a kid, the Cleveland Browns were a great organization. You know, up till the time I was about 15, and it kind of started deteriorating. But my dad would tell me about the greatness of the Cleveland Browns. Well, they had this culture that was so positive. We're the greatest team. We're the best team. We came in our first year and won the championship. You know, well, now they tend to suck. Okay, well, what it is, it's culture.
Right.
You know,
They don't
winning
have the people behind them
yeah, it's
almost.
you got to have a winning culture, and that's what we're trying to develop in Marion. And I know a lot of people complained about the wraps on the buses and all this, and the money that was spent.
Those were already ordered before Mayor Collins had come in,
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, and I was up in Cleveland, and they had. I love my city.
Hmm.
I was at a ball game this year, and kids had shirts that said "I love my city," and I seen it said like "Love your city." Here they said "I love my city." You know, we part of that was to try to create a positive view, create the culture of positivity here in Marion,
Right.
and I liked it. And I mean, I know it costs some money. We can't do nothing like that now. We don't have any money to spend on it, but it was well intended.
Hmm.
It was well intended. I believe it was. Some people don't think it was, but I do believe it was well intended.
Hmm. Going back to the Cleveland Browns, you once referred "can do" to the Cleveland Browns, saying they just can't get it over the goal line.
You,
You still feel that
boy,
way?
you do keep track of everything I've said. My goodness. Yeah, what can do is like I was meeting with the former head one time, and I told him, I said, um, you know, can do, in my opinion, is like you guys are moving the ball down the field, and it seems like you're almost there, and we hear all this positive news, and this is great, and it's working, but you just can't get it across the goal line.
Hmm.
You know, you get down to like Ohio State did in that game with Indiana, 3rd down and 1,
Hmm.
and they did some stupid plays, and they can't get the 1 yard line, and they can't get it into the end zone. They could have won that game easy, and uh, and I just said you can't get it across the goal line.
Hmm.
We keep hearing all this and that, and the money is being spent, and you just can't get it in the end zone.
Right.
And maybe a tush push, or you know,
Right.
maybe they should do a little community push.
And that was kind of the big reason for making the economic development position,
Yes, and
right?
that's why that would, if we had the money, we could have done that. You know, I tell you the truth. When I got into office, when I was running, and I go up to some of the meetings when I was running for first time 2 years ago,
Hmm.
I heard this mess with the money, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. That there was so much confusion over the city's finances,
Right.
and I had probably should have paid more attention. I didn't know about a Marion Watchman.
Hmm.
I wish I had known about it. Your Marion Patriots and what you're doing here,
Hmm.
but the auditor was getting uh, really torched at a lot of those meetings,
Right.
and I kind of felt sorry for her. And I kept thinking, is it all her fault or whatever? And then you find out as time goes on. I'm in office for 2 years. It wasn't just her. It wasn't just the previous auditor, or
Right.
this problems what we had goes back to the computer system.
The New World
the
system.
New
And
World
we know
system.
a lot of cities, as the mayor said, the state auditor said, the a lot of cities have with the New World system have the same problem as we are
Yes,
having.
it's not what I like to know back in 2009. But you know what I was getting back to say, because I voted for some things that if I would have had a more clarity of what uh, we had going on in our finances, I might not have voted for some things that I
Mm-hmm.
did, but it was never made clear. I do know one thing that Mayor Collins did good that made it more clear was the budget director position.
Right. And the grant
Casey
writer has helped
and the
as
grant
well.
writer. Uh, because we were losing millions and millions of dollars in possible grants to improve our city by not having one. But I remember when Tacey Corley came about, she actually drew up things and made it more clear.
Mm.
But what I'm saying, back to the point of, I lost it.
That's all right. Um, what are your 3 favorite things about Marion?
I love our I love our history with our president that lived here.
Mm.
I know he may have been a very flawed individual morally, you know, and he had an administration that had corrupt people in it. He trusted his friends,
Mm-hmm.
but I, when I kept hearing that he was the worst president of all time,
That's what I heard growing up too.
he was not.
No.
No, by far not. And James Buchanan, uh, John Tyler,
Mm.
uh, you know, previous president we just had, you know, they were horrible presidents, and especially James Buchanan
Mm-hmm.
and Woodrow Wilson, one of the biggest racist presidents that ever lived.
Really? I did not
Oh
know that.
my goodness, he removed all black people from federal workforce.
Oh wow.
He was a vicious, incredible racist.
Now Herbert Hoover came after Harding, right?
No,
Who?
Calvin Coolidge
Calvin
did.
Coolidge. That's who I'm thinking
Calvin
of.
Coolidge. But
Yeah.
when Harding became president, we had just had a pandemic. We were in a major recession.
Right after the First World
Yeah,
War.
and veterans were suffering.
Mm-hmm.
He created the opposite of management and budget. He cut taxes. He reduced the size of government and put African Americans back in the government.
Mm.
And he actually went to Birmingham, Alabama, and spoke against segregation.
Wow.
And tried to pass an anti-lynching law. The Republican Party did, because at that time most black people in America were Republican,
Wow.
because that is the party that freed them.
Hmm.
The Republican Party was created to, for abolition of slavery.
Right.
That's why it was created. That was the basic reason why the Republican Party was created. So so I mean, we had an economic turnaround. He and because of his personal life and because of other things, but I still love the fact the Harding Memorial is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we take it for granted.
It looked especially good when they pressure washed it too.
Oh my goodness! But I love our history, our power shovel. My grandfather helped weld the crawler.
Oh wow.
My
That's
grand
cool. That they
my,
still use today.
yes, my grandfather was a welder at Marion Power Shovel and helped work on that. And
Did he help make the coastal cannons?
I'm not sure, but I do know that he helped with the crawler. The crawler was welded and put together here. Then it was assembled in Florida, I believe,
At NASA headquarters, yeah.
NASA headquarters down there. But my Marion Power Shovel was history. Uh, how the German immigrants came here in the 1890s. If you ever notice, there's a lot of people in Marion with kind of German last name.
Mm.
They came off of trains and went to work at the power shovel. It was used down in the digging of the Panama Canal.
Yeah.
Uh, Even a place like Wilson Bohannon here in Marion, with a padlock place, where the guy that was traveling through here on a train, I guess, and he got off and said, "Huh, this is a nice place to build a factory." And it's been here, and it's got a very historic, and it's still prospering.
Yeah.
It's even expanding.
Hmm.
Sorry,
That's all right.
sorry.
All right. When did you first start engaging with city government? I know you kind of covered that a little bit, but
Um, I really hate to admit that I didn't engage soon enough.
hmm,
I mean, I always voted in all the elections. I, I, I did not, because I stopped, subscribing to the Marion Star. I didn't get the daily news, and I really wish I had been more deeply involved in the processes of what was going on with city council
hmm,
uh, before I had. What really got me into it was the summer of love in the pandemic year,
hmm,
where cities were burning and nothing was being done to stop it,
hmm.
and by the city councils and by the mayors. And that's when I got together with a group of guys that we would discuss these things. And then I realized how important city council is.
It starts local.
It starts local. And I always paid more attention to national, always been very opinionated. Um,
Yeah, that's how a lot of people are. They just pay attention every 4 years to the presidency.
yeah, and then the realization that what really affects you in Marion isn't necessarily always what goes on in Washington, it's what goes on here and in our state. I paid attention to state government, but I never did pay them. And I think this is a problem with a lot of people in Marion. And there's a lot of, I found out that there are people that have been following Marion very closely for years, and I have a lot of respect for them. I've got to know these people, but I really wish. But I got together when I saw that what city councils were doing. I said, somebody said, "Well, why don't you run for city council?" This is 2 years before I did, and I said, "No, I don't think so." And then finally, I did, because I knew that my votes on city council could make a difference,
Right.
and you had to start local. It had to be here. This is where I live, and it's not that I didn't pay attention. I didn't pay attention enough.
Well, people do get caught up in the hustle and bustle, trying to pay bills and raise a
Well,
family too. I'm sure. I'm
well,
sure you've had your,
yeah.
you've
I
had your
My
part in
family
that. But
started when my son was. I was 45 or 46 when my son was born.
oh wow,
Yeah.
is that your only son?
Yes.
Oh wow, okay.
And so I was pretty busy, and that's when I started working at the jail, and and doing other
It's right
things.
about the time of the New World System too.
And
So you
and
were
if I
close.
would have, I voted for Mayor Schertzer, you know, first couple terms, and I like him. I personally, I like his wife is a great teacher
Hmm.
and everything. And my son, she taught my son in choir.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's fantastic at her job. And but boy, I wish I would have paid more attention when they would have this new world system. This is one thing that troubles me. Back to this. This is why I heard that there was other systems that we could have used
Hmm.
that were more acclimated to state and local government.
Hmm.
And then we
Wouldn't they have
used the
been a
new
little cheaper
world
too?
cheaper. Why did we pick the new world system?
Hmm.
This is where I believe that the forensic audit needs to be done,
Right.
and not some lame halfway. I mean, I used to. My wife and I like to watch forensic files,
Hmm.
where you go into the deep details of every strand of mitochondria, every part of what happened back to 2009.
Back to the pennies.
Yes. And why that system was chosen over the other one.
Hmm.
I mean, why would that one have been selected if it cost more and wasn't as necessarily suited to city government or state government when the other one was? And I hate this. I can't retain like I used to, but I forget the actual name of the other one. I'd heard it, but we did not use that one.
I can't think of it either right now.
And but I mean, if we had chosen the other one, maybe we wouldn't be having these problems.
Right.
And I do know one thing, and I'm not an expert on computers. Sometimes I have to have my son help me with certain things. But I do know one thing that, like money, when a bank says it has so many billions or whatever in its thing, it doesn't actually have it in cash in some vault.
Right.
You know, it's numbers on a paper. So if a computer system or if a a system like New World is not functioning properly, couldn't money just disappear off of the paper somewhere else? It did it with me where I was sending in a house payment and I had the wrong information and my house payment went off for a year, went off somewhere else.
Oh man.
And I had to go in the bank and they did an audit of, they did some, maybe a forensic check
Hmm.
and found out where the money went.
Hmm. So it's doable. It just has to be done.
Yeah, it needs to be done, and we need to find out what was the process of why we picked New World System over the other one,
Hmm.
and whose decisions it was, and why it passed, and why there wasn't maybe more scrutiny about it.
I think that's a lot of people's kind of rebuttal with the whole thing is it'd be one thing to have um, like who's been to benefit, I guess, is what people want to know.
Yeah,
It'd be one thing to have huge deficits and nice roads and good overpasses and railroad track crossings and stuff like that, but we don't. So I think that's a lot of the reason.
well, there was a lot of construction going on in Marion
Yeah,
this
we have.
fall, and they did, but basically everybody that has a checking account has to balance it, or you got to know what's in your checking account.
Right.
You got to know what you have. You got to have it reconciled. And and if things aren't getting done because either the computer system or whatever, you got to do something. I do know that, like when I worked at a bank a few years ago, they had a meeting and they said that one day people used to call into the bank and ask if their check came in,
Hmm.
their Social Security. I
Hmm.
remember getting calls. Did my Social Security check come in? Well, nowadays you can just go to your computer, you look on your phone. Yeah,
And it
a Social,
loads right.
Social
It
Security
says,
check came in.
hmm.
They told 30 years ago, I heard, I never forgot this. One day there would be very few bank tellers. There would be some representatives in there, bankers, helping you out with certain things.
Getting you your cash, and whatnot,
And everybody would be able to look and find out what was going on in their account and manage it.
and it turned out to be.
Yeah, it was. They knew that was in the early to mid '90s,
Wow.
and it all happened that way. And like I said, if a lot of people your age don't even use cash,
Right. I
uh,
can remember last time I used cash.
yeah. So you don't ever, if you don't see money, it could disappear. It can be taken from off of your phone. It can be taken off of your account. It's not like they have to come to your house and rob you.
Right.
They can hack your bank account number and take it.
Not even that. I was watching something and it said if when people used to cash their checks and they would get their actual cash and go pay their bills, handing over that money was more of a psychological kind of thing to you instead of just coming out of your account. You actually see that money go
Oh yeah,
instead of
it was
just
actually nice to see it. I remember I worked at the North office at Fahey Bank, and on Fridays the line would go outside
wow.
when people coming in to cash their check,
Hmm.
and you don't see that now.
Yeah.
And it was kind of nice that you cash your check, you put some of it in your checking account back then. Yeah, I want to put this much in my checking account, and I'm going to take $50 out, and this is my gas money, and going to eat at McDonald's money.
Hmm.
But at least you got to see it. And you see some older people even at checkout lines that still want to write a
Write a
check,
check. Yeah.
or they take every penny and pay. I've seen this. Uh,
I don't even know how to write a check.
I learned to write a check when I was 11.
Wow.
When I had a Marion Star route, I had a savings account. A guy named Harry Leeper came to the house and said, "Well, you're a businessman now. You're going to buy these papers off of the Star, and you basically it was a business."
Right.
And they taught me how to write a check. I
Hmm.
had a checking account when I was 11, and I would write a check to the Marion Star and send it to them,
Wow.
or take it up and give it to them. I paid for the papers that they brought to the house, and then whatever I had left, and if people didn't pay me, I lost that money.
Wow.
So sometimes my dad was this, before he got sick, was this muscles and the T-shirt, and I would 11 or 12, and my Dad, I can't get him to pay. He would stand up behind me, "Are you going to pay my son?" And I see grown men run. He had his like this,
Real tight
and
shirt.
yeah, and it's like "You're going to pay my son," and it's like, "Okay, I'll go get the money." I would go there like 6 times and they wouldn't pay me, and so it's like I brought the enforcer with me.
Right.
And
Oh man.
that was I had the best dad in the world.
Wow.
Yeah,
You recently won re-election for the sixth ward over Anthony Azaria. You got 56% of the vote. Why do you think voters chose you over your opponent?
I live. Fortunately for me, I live in a conservative district,
Hmm.
part of the town. It's mostly Republican. I actually got 1 more % than I did the first time.
Hmm.
I think that I tried to represent what I thought the sixth ward values are. Um, Particularly where I live at in the sixth ward, it's very conservative,
Hmm.
and I think that I use face social media a lot for campaigning. I would put things out on message. My friends list went from like 550 to 1,500.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I use social media and Facebook to post a lot of my opinions, but a lot of it is I was very fortunate to live in a Republican, uh, pre, ward, but I do believe I represented the values of the people of the sixth ward really well, and I tried my best to follow up with complaints that people had about houses next to them. This is one of the other big things I really talk about. People would say the house next to me is a mess. It's garbage everywhere. It's no windows, or there's dilapidated swing sets in the backyard, and there's uh, rats and raccoons running around, and
Mm.
the people that own it won't mow the grass and all this. And I tried to follow up on all these calls and get with people up City Hall that could take care of it. And I tried to help, and sometimes people were satisfied, and other times people weren't. But I myself couldn't go in and remove all the house or kick the people out of the house, or
Right.
but the law director is working on certain landlords that there's cases and stuff against certain landlords that aren't taking care of properties,
Hmm.
and but I tried to do that, and I just tried to help out and represent the people of my ward. That's why I think I got reelected.
Interesting.
I didn't do anything that would have turned them off,
Right.
apparently.
Interesting. As a Marion City Council member, you have primarily advocated for fiscal responsibility, economic development, and public safety. What do you think the council has done best to address these issues during your tenure?
Well, I think that we've tried on economic development and public safety. I've always supported everything that the police have done. I think the council has to, in the fire department, keeping them strong. I don't want to see any police or fire department people laid off or anything through all this. I do think that we could do more about fiscal responsibility, and that's one thing that I think that I could have done better. That we could do better as a city council is fiscal responsibility. I told somebody on Facebook Messenger with me, somebody that's very involved in what's going on in the city, and I told her, she says, "You guys are spending too much for what we have or whatever." And I said, "Don't worry, Doge is coming to Marion."
Mm.
And then right after that, the announcement with the mayor cutting 10%. And we have to get our fiscal books in line, reconciled, and we cannot spend more than what we have.
And hopefully, with the new treasurer coming in, we can get the auditor and treasurer's office doing communicating better.
Well, then somebody was talking to me. Marion Watts asked me about like I didn't take my pay raise, and neither did us on city
None of
council.
council did, right?
Yeah,
You pushed it back to 2028,
yeah,
I believe.
and not the fact that I couldn't have used it. Especially, I was helping my son out with his final year's tuition,
Hmm.
but but we did keep the raise for the treasurer, and one of the reasons was if this treasurer is going to be doing more work than what the treasurer used to do.
Hmm.
She's also very qualified, and she used to run a financial institution. And I'm pretty sure that I love Tommy Reese, and he's a cool guy. I like him personally, but he did what he was assigned to do. But now this new treasurer will be doing a little bit more,
Hmm.
and I think Miranda McGinnis is trying very hard uh, to do a better job. I do believe that every all of I don't care who you are, what job you're doing, we could all do a better job.
Right.
I myself, in these next 2 years, want to do twice as good a job as I did the first time. Better, far better. That's why I'm so happy to have the second chance for what I would call my final 2 years on council. I want to be able to devote more and more time to it, more and more thought, more and more uh, ways to come up to help Marion prosper. I tell you one thing, it's one thing to cut. All right, I'm personally cutting my own finances at home. I'm taking, it may not be 10%, but it's pretty close. All right, it's one thing to cut your spending, but Marion also needs to increase revenue
Hmm.
um, and economic development. And one of the things that got is unfunded was Downtown Marion Inc.
Hmm.
And right now, that there is our only source of economic development.
Hmm.
With as an organization, but
Right.
Marion needs economic development. It's one thing to increase revenue. I looked up when I heard about the shortage of money. I looked up on the internet where most money, where money is, how money comes into the city government. The biggest portion, like 35 or 38%, is through fees.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sewer and trash rates and stuff like that.
yes, and
That was another one of my questions. Would you support a rate increase for the sewer and trash, or maybe even income tax?
sewer and trash. I I don't know if I would support that, but I do would reluctantly, possibly, maybe that 0.5% raise the city income tax or city tax up to 3%. But first off, I want to go and see what goes on over the next 3 months before I do that.
Right.
Because we're taxed to death in this country.
Yeah.
And I would be very reluctant to do that.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure a lot of other people would be glad to hear that too.
Yeah, it would have to be, there's nothing left that we can do.
Right.
And the biggest thing is where the largest percentage comes in, this was based upon all municipalities all over the country, is through fees
Mm.
and things like that. So maybe some of the fees for like zoning or whatever you could raise, but then there's also ways to cut the expenses. It's hard to explain. I was going to
I can
mention
see
something
that.
that, like, let's say somebody spends $300 to Miser water, $300 for a fee to rezone, but yet it costs $350 to put it in the paper.
Mm.
So then the city doesn't really gain any money.
Mm-hmm.
It actually ends up losing. So one of the Marion Star, I don't know how many people actually read it now.
Right.
It used to be almost everybody on my street had a Marion Star when
Wow.
I was a kid. I mean, there wasn't a house that I ever went by. Maybe one or two out of 100.
That didn't have a newspaper in the driveway.
It didn't have a newspaper in their door back then.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, and but so I mean, how many people read it? I mean, there's got to be a better way. The city of Granville, where my one brother lives, they actually have this. If they want information, they go to an app. They have an
Okay.
they have an app. They're a charter city, and Granville is doing really good right now because they're a charter city. They have more flexibility to do things,
Mm-hmm.
and that way we could post like these things on the app because most people aren't looking at a newspaper; they're looking here.
Right.
You know,
Or even,
everybody's got one of these
or
things,
even maybe just watch council meetings.
or just watch council. Yeah, and you can watch council meetings on there and just pay attention to what's going on. But it's just going to take a lot of digging and probing and finding out what's going on. So I think it can be done. Nothing's impossible.
Right. It just takes an initiative.
Yes.
Um, what are you most optimistic about going into your next term?
I actually believe that there is going to be economic development.
Mm-hmm.
It may not come in the first 6 months, but I do believe that our nation as a whole, with the money that has come into our federal government, will fall down into, it'll trickle down. People say it doesn't, but it does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is possibilities for economic development in this city, and I do, even without a can do whatever. or the economic development director, I do believe it's possible that we will see uh, more and more places to work coming into the city. I mean, we got to give younger people hope that you can get out of high school. We have Marion Tech. We have Ohio State University. It's growing here in Marion. We have Tri Rivers. We have Tri Rivers for adults. We have all kinds of places to train people and for jobs. I mean, real jobs like plumbing, electrical, uh, nursing.
Right.
I mean, one of the biggest employers in Marion is Ohio Health.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you got men now that are nurses. Almost as many men are nurses now as women
Right.
because it pays a good amount of money. I mean, we have the education facilities here. Harding is the Marion City Schools is turning around because of our new boss.
Brian Murphy.
I mean, Marion City Schools is taking it's starting to turn around. If Marion City Schools can take a turnaround, Marion City can.
Right. I believe that too. I said that to Ralph when I interviewed him. He said basically said the same thing. So
Yeah, I mean, we have at Harding we have a former Harding student who's a principal, Mr. Snyder, and Brian, our head of the Marion City Schools, who I work for. It's great, and if we can turn this city around, we can. I don't think it's impossible.
right.
Look, this. I mean, if you know, when you live in a city your whole life, let's say I've been married now 23 years, and I can sometimes, or people that are married 40 years, and you look at your wife and you go, "Hi, honey," but yeah, you realize you get so used to seeing her, you don't really realize, you know. Now I know why I married
Right.
you. You know, and this is the way it is with our city. We've been in it all our lives. People either older or even like you, 20. You take it for granted.
Mm.
You take it for granted that maybe this is not a horrible place to live, really.
There are lots of other horrible places to live.
Oh, there's far worse. Uh, my son went to Bowling Green his first year in college, his first semester, and he said he'd go up to Toledo and said, "Dad, you don't want to go to Toledo at night."
Really.
Uh, he said, "Dad, I just never see anything like it." And not to put all of Toledo down, but I said, "Ronnie, it didn't used to be that way up there."
Mm.
But and he says it's a creepy place at night. I'd rather go to Detroit,
Wow.
you know. But I mean, there's a lot of places far worse than Marion. But it's kind of like when you're around that person that you've been married to a long time, and you forget exactly why. Maybe one day you look at it. I told my wife the other day, I said, honey, you're beautiful. I don't know how I ever got so lucky, you know? And, we got it we're that way about our city. We just got to realize we got to work together, all of us, Democrat and Republican in this city,
Right.
liberal, conservative. We all want basically the same thing: peace and prosperity.
Come together and conquer.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Um, like we've said, the city's financial situation is probably the most heated topic in the city council right now. Uh, in your opinion, what do you think ultimately led to the economic downfall within the city
I
administration?
actually believe it was the New World System.
That's what you think?
I actually believe it was that at first I kept hearing it. I thought maybe it might have been certain people, auditors in the past. But I don't. I believe that no matter who we would have had in there as auditor, the New World System, the implementation of it, um, is what led to the issue.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
until we go in there and take a deep dive into the forensics of it, And it could have been some people that just let it go. The security measures that Ralph was talking about that were not implemented, and
Password sharing and
password sharing. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that anywhere. So, I
yeah,
mean, there might have been some people that might have had issues, but the main problem started with the New World System.
just not reconciling
Yeah,
balances, doing reconciliations, running massive deficits, overspending without a council's approval, and all that stuff just adds up
yes.
over time.
You got to have accuracy.
Hmm. With the city not funding the economic developer position, how does the city plan to bring development and raise revenue?
That there, I need to find out exactly. I do know that Can Do still has a board,
Mm-hmm.
and that is one of the things I really want to look into about how that can happen. I do know that um, the mayor might have to take a more active part, maybe, but we need to do something. Have find out exactly. That's what I want to look into. I really can't answer that because I want to look into it and find out what we can do with the Can Do that we have, and find from there, because there are going to be opportunities for economic development coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We're not that far from Delaware and Columbus that, it's going to move.
Right.
Eventually, it's going to move. I know Wyandotte County has always been good at finding places to work for people.
Hmm.
I was given a name of somebody from Wyandotte County. I'm going to give them a call, and I'm going to start calling around to different areas where they're getting things done and find out what can be done. And like I said, just keep working on things.
Hmm.
But I do need to look into that deeper, and I want to be on the Jobs and Economic Development Committee again, and I want to really see what I could do to help stim well, anything that I could do to help out.
Hmm.
Because the greatest thing we can do to change the economic situation in Marion, other than the audit and going back, is to create revenue. And revenue is created through tax dollars and people working.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know a lot of data centers are being built in the U.S. now, and we've got one in Marysville that is only going to supply 12 jobs. Would you support if somebody wanted to put a data center in Marion? I know they're pretty harmful to the environment.
Probably not. I don't like all the solar farms going in, because
Yeah,
to me it's a wasted. The solar farms are, they can put a solar farm in your county. It doesn't even supply you with energy.
right.
It goes off somewhere else.
That's really good farmland out there too.
What's that?
That would have been really good farmland or even
Absolutely.
industrial land.
Industrial land, farmland, uh, and the environmental impact of these solar farms when they decay.
They're not responsible to clean it up.
They're not responsible to clean up. We are going to have an ecological disaster one day when these things get old and they crumble apart.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be land that may not ever be able to use again for farming or anything.
Yeah, the solar panels will kill off the grass
The
and
grass and
wild
everything.
natural wild plants.
And the only thing that pushes these solar farms is money.
Mm-hmm.
It's people making money off of it.
It's brought no jobs to Marion either.
No,
I don't
no
believe.
jobs, no nothing. Um, there are, down in Licking County where my brother lives, he has 4 kids, and it's my younger brother that was in Afghanistan, uh, uh, served in Afghanistan,
Oh wow,
and his wife did too, in Iraq,
wow.
both of them. And my one nephew went to work for Amazon.
Hmm.
Didn't go to college. He's making $26 or $25 an hour.
Wow.
I mean, his first job. He didn't go to college. He's started out 20 hours a week. Then, if they didn't want to do that, they could go to work for another Abercrombie and Fitch,
Hmm.
or they could go to work. There's so many jobs down in Licking County. Uh, I really, an old friend of mine was president of city council in Newark for 12 years, and I was trying to get reattached. We've had some communication, but I'd love to know what they did down there. That so much economic development is down there in Licking County right now.
Hmm. I'll have to look into that.
I mean, you could, if you as a young person lived in that area, you could find a job anywhere.
Hmm. I don't want to leave Marion.
No, I know, but why can't that be in Marion?
Right, right.
Why can't that be in Marion? You know what? How many people, if Amazon was to build a distribution facility, let's say northern part of Marion County or whatever,
Right.
how many people in your generation? Oh man, I'd love to work there.
That'd probably be 600 to 1,000 jobs, just
Yeah,
depending on the size.
I mean, Ryan, he's learning all kinds of stuff. You know, he's being trained to do what he might have went to college to do while he's working there.
Wow.
I mean, he's making more money than I am. I never made $26 an hour.
Wow.
I mean, it's incredible.
I know Vivek Ramaswamy wants to make Ohio the first state to offer 3-year full scholarships. So, what would you think about that?
And it's a great idea.
Get all the unnecessary classes out of the college for them. And,
Yes, I think cutting down on the expenses of college. My son has manipulated and used it very. When I got elected to city council, it made him actually pay because I started making more money, and it
wow.
cost him a grant. But I think that would be a fantastic idea to cut down on the cost of education. And I do believe that there are a lot of wasted degrees that are acquired in college. Uh,
A lot of people go to college and never even use their degree and get a job that doesn't even require a degree.
well, I have I have some nieces that went to college for different things, and they're now working at the Department of Defense down in Columbus with their mom and dad,
Oh, wow.
doing something completely different than what they went to college with, and they're making a lot more money than what they would have if you know what I mean.
Right.
I mean, how many? Very few. So many wasted degrees that people get,
And then you're stuck in 250 to $400,000 in student loan debt.
and then you end up being a barista.
Yeah.
And colleges offer so many nonsensical degrees to get that have no practicality. My son is doing GIS mapping,
Mm.
and he was going to do music because he's great. He's good. He's good at music.
Mm-hmm.
He won the John Philip Sousa Award his last senior year at Harding.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And but he went up there and said, "Dad, I can't do this. These people are too one-minded."
Really?
He said, "I like a lot of different things." I said, "I can't isolate myself just on one thing." But so he then decided to go into GIS mapping, which is what my brother did in the Air Force.
Oh.
My brother was, it's a combination of surveying, like these little maps, these things I get on city council about alley vacations and where the solar farms are, you know, and where land is. So he does this, and it's a practical thing. He'll get a good job one day.
That's good.
It's practical. So what we need to do with that, and I support Vivek in that regard.
Council recently passed the ordinance allowing the city to enforce Ohio's commercial building code and establish a city commercial building code department. What are you hoping for in this department?
I would like to see things expedited and go smoother.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's differing opinions on this.
Yeah.
Some people think it's okay the way it was. Um,
Some people say they haven't had a problem with the state. Some people say they have. Some people think this would drag it on longer. Some people think it won't. It's kind of 50-50.
I went back and forth on this. I voted for it. I was against it. I was for it. I was against it. I was for it.
Right.
Because I would listen to I listened to all people.
Right.
Finally, I decided it's only for a year,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of that year, if this does not work, uh, we go back the way it was.
Yeah, that was my next question. If the department turns out to have funding issues or even make wait times longer, would you support abandoning it when council revisits in 12
Yes,
months? Yeah.
I would definitely.
Okay. Um, um, I know some people said that they were willing to take on the costs because some people say that they would like to have a playbook basically of the rules and know what to do, or have at least have somebody kind of close to even go to or express those opinions. So I think it'll be good, and the fact that we can revisit in 12 months makes it even better.
Yes,
So
and like I said, it could speed up some. The developers like it. The contractors were they weren't for it.
right.
That's generally how it divided down.
Hmm. Council also passed a budget to fund the first quarter, or the city for the first quarter. Basically, that was recommended by the state auditor's office, if I'm correct.
Yes,
And it's basically to allow the city to get the year-end balances so they know what they're working with, to be able to pass a full budget by April 1st, and then allow the city to put forth a plan to pay down negative line items, and then this would hopefully get the city out of fiscal watch and recover our bond rating. Um, some of the skeptical stuff I've seen or heard are some departments could come asking for additional appropriations and then end up getting that funding later on in the year,
yeah.
after April 1st. And then it could also add additional strain on an already precarious auditor's office. What's your take on it?
Well, I believe we had to do what the auditor suggested
Mm-hmm.
because the alternative was um, that we would be placed in a more distressed situation,
Fiscal watch
fiscal watch,
or even emergency.
and it's kind of like with our federal government doing these continuing resolutions,
Mm-hmm.
kicking the can down the road. I've never been a fan of that.
We could be expecting another government shutdown come January.
Yeah, and there could be another thing of food stamps not going out or whatever. But
Right.
I mean, it's this political game,
That's
and
all it is.
but what it is, we had to do this uh, because we need to get a look at it. It's not what I would prefer to do.
Mm-hmm.
You prefer to pass the budget for the whole year,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to do what the auditor suggested because they had the power to put us in a more distressed situation.
Yeah, and Twyla Lang said if that we're put into watch or emergency, the state could come in and we would have to work off of only 85% of our
Yes,
allotted budget.
we'll have to
That's
watch that. I mean, it was brought up at the meeting that those things could happen. That there's some things that like we fund them for a quarter, and they could end up getting more money because we only doing it. So we have to really do a lot of detailed searching and research and investigation before we would when on April 1st, before we vote it forward for the rest of the year, we have to know everything going on as much as possible.
make sure there's no
Yeah,
additional
no additional.
stuff or
Yeah,
even more.
we don't want no duplications.
Right.
But really, we have to do what the auditor said.
Hmm. My last question. I know you supported the charter initiative. We kind of covered that a little bit ago. Do you think the council should revisit this in the future, or do you think it'll have to be more citizen driven?
I think it has to be citizen driven the next time. It has to start at the grassroots. Maybe people in the community. Uh, I'm glad the council brought it up because it got it out into the open,
Got people at least
got
somewhat
people
thinking
talking
about it,
about it.
right?
I do believe that in the future, for our city to prosper in the next so many years, for the future, a chartered city is the ultimate solution. Uh, I heard people say Marion wasn't ready for it yet, and they may have been right.
Right.
The people of Marion weren't ready for it because they didn't know enough about it. But a lot of our issues and our problems, fiscally and development, economic development, and safety, and getting our city cleaned up, could be cured through a charter government.
Hmm.
It's basically you're drawing up your own constitution.
Right.
You're no longer held responsible for under the Ohio Revised Code.
It's a constitutional convention, pretty much.
Yes,
Just
that's what I told somebody. I said that if we had voted the 15 members of the charter committee in, they would have been the Constitutional Convention.
or John Adams and
John Adams
George
and
Washington and
John Madison,
right.
they would have been drawing up our government, and we would have. And you have a preamble. If you, I looked at Granville, and they actually, we the people of Granville hereby establish this, and all these things that were held captive by the Ohio Revised Code, especially on fees and so forth, that are costing us so much money, uh, could be eliminated.
Right.
And if we get through the next couple of years and get things straightened out as much as we can, and then we get a citizen-driven movement for a charter city through more education and so forth, and getting people to know about it and understand it better. And people like you, Marion Watchman, Marion Patriots Network, you can be a part of that
Right.
because the cities that are booming, like Delaware, uh, Newark, Mansfield, Granville,
Marysville.
Marysville, they're chartered cities.
Right.
They've What we're doing right now is the past. It's 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the 21st century. You know, what if the people at the Continental Convention at the Constitutional Convention would have said, "Oh, this has never been done before.
That's the whole thing
We're
of it.
not ready for this."
Right.
The Articles of Confederation, our first government, didn't work.
Right.
It was the people were more loyal to their states than they were to the nation.
Or even the king.
Yeah, yeah. Ohio, Michigan, you know, you got to. That's one reason why we had the Civil War.
Yep.
People were still more loyal to their states. If Virginia, this is one thing I point out, it has nothing to do with Marion, but if Virginia was not a slave state, General Lee would have fought for the Union.
Right.
He was more loyal to his state when they supported slavery so much. It was the mere fact that he was loyal to his state. We were colonies first in this country.
Right.
So that's how people's loyalties were. So when they had this, our Constitutional Convention, it was to unite the United States, the United States.
Right.
One country, and each state can have its individual power on certain things, but we're all united.
You think that's kind of the reason? I mean, it's more so of an identity crisis. People are kind of looking for their identity, something to relate to, something to,
Yeah,
like I think of it as like in the 50s and 60s, you had the manufacturers, you had the miners, you had the nurses. Everybody had their own little kind of group,
Yeah.
Now everybody's kind of looking for that same thing,
Yeah.
but everything is so much the same nowadays. Like you could go from you could go to California, and you would most likely see the same thing because of social media. Everybody's saying the same thing. Nobody's different,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah, we people used to have pride in what they did. My dad was a factory worker, but he took pride in his work. He did a good job,
Right.
and he would voice his opinion many days at the shop. He'd come home and tell us. But you know, people take pride in their work. I don't care whether if I was been in the past doing the most lowest form of job you could imagine. I wanted to do the best job I could.
Right.
You know, uh, one time, uh, no matter what you do, if you're working at McDonald's, if you're working at Burger King, you should have pride in what you're doing.
Right. Now
You,
people just think, oh, you work at McDonald's. Oh, you work at Burger King. Oh, wow. A lot of people think that way, and that
but
you know,
those jobs for young people teach you something.
right? Customer service, um,
Those yeah,
you
those
know,
nights.
money skills, and
The only jobs I could get coming out that I could get when I was younger was jobs like that, delivering pizza. I mean, but I
delivering.
learned a lot about Marion doing that.
Right.
I went to all parts. I was offered so many joints delivering pizza, you would not believe it. I mean, people would say, if you get here in 15 minutes, I'll give you $5 or whatever because I got the munchies. And then like I was offered so many joints when I was delivering pizza. I never smoked them because I've never done any drugs, and I've only had a few glasses of wine in my life.
Wow.
But I mean, but I learned and seen in all over Marion. I have been all over Marion my whole life with different jobs that I've had, and it's taught me a lot about all sides of it and all people that live here. But the main thing that I think we all want is prosperity and security.
Right.
All right?
Is there anything else you want to say before we conclude?
Nope. I just thank you for this opportunity to interview, and you have a good day.
You too. I hope I get to talk to you again.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.